Oh, hello. My life. I don't know if I'm live. I presume I'm live. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, Button, Heather Anderson, C-Rex, and Lullaby. I am Heather. I'm fine. I went to bed at 5 to have a nap, if you can call it a nap. Set my alarm, and so everything's cool. So yeah, it's 1 year. 1 year ago today, this channel started existing. Hello, Shadell, Caroline 1507, Cowboy Dog. Hello, Cowboy Dog. My pain levels are normal for me. Normal. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Oh, hello. Okay. Simply me, Empress of Empress of Cloth. Hello. Deadhead 828, Iron Chef Jamie, Sandgy, Mr. Craig, Jane Cobb's Hat, Nanu. Sorry, I cannot pronounce that. I am ever so sorry. Insolent Violet. Hello. I am a cat lady. Hello. I am a cat lady too. Very much so. B squared. Nanushka. Oh. Nan. Oh yeah, it's obvious now that. Yes, thank you very, very much, Nanushka. Chris Dot. I don't know what tender hooks are. Is it tenter hooks? I always thought it was tender hooks. Tender hooks makes even less. I don't even know what a tenter is. Thank you, Chris Dot, for the happy 1 year. Yes, 1 year. I know. Unicorn farts. Hello. I mean, this channel was created on the 3rd of May. I put its name up and stuff, but I didn't actually publish anything until the first week of June. I asked you guys technically which one should I celebrate, and you said the creation of, and so I'm here. Hello, Mellow Maggot, Yellow Moon. I haven't aged a minute since. It's a weirdly stressful hobby, is what I can say. That's for sure. Mountain Laurel, Pug Mama, Ren Ferrell, B squared, Deadhead. Thank you so much for watching what I do. If you can hear that, that is a cat scratching a scratching post in the corner. They're a bit confused as to why I'm up, to be honest. B squared. This year has gone past shockingly quickly. I can't believe it's already May. April was just a blip, to be honest. Jen, hello. Heather, taking a break from Girl World. Girl World is getting very grim, in my opinion. It is farcical and it is ludicrous. And if you didn't know how Foodie or Amber were once upon a time, and hadn't seen the decline, then I guess it'd be less grim if you didn't know so much. But it's getting, I don't know, there's something going on. Not going on, we all know there's something going on. What I mean is there's a kind of, they're at the very, very top of the roller coaster when it's just going tipping so that everything is facing downwards, ready for the big swoop down. and I don't really want to be a part of it, because it's basically documenting the ending of people. And now at this point, I'm very impressive. A tenter hook is a hooked nail for securing cloth on a tenter. What's a tenter? An actual tent? Anyway, I don't do lives very often, so this reading things in real time business. Oh, hello, Stormy Jade. Insolent Violet. I am winding down on it. Just watched Mr. Snowflake's Shattered Reality. She's an unbelievably awful person. Oh, that becomes public, doesn't it, on Monday? Yeah, I shall be watching that, yes. Simply me, I notice a lot of reactors are starting to feel like you. It is, it's watching, it's Foodie Beauty's channel is on life support currently. And it's, I don't know, it hasn't got to the point where you decide whether or not, to switch off the machinery. It's a bit sinister. But, I mean, yeah, the Kuwait arc era was a monumentally bad decision. Hello, Cypher. Tenter is a frame for drying things. Oh, like flowers and things, yeah. And herbs and oh. Okay, that's even more confusing. Okay, Empress of Cloth. Snowflake is my other membership. I think it just drops for members. Yes. According to Twitter, it's just mentioned. Yes, Renajul Sultan of Scat, DNR. Yes, for sure. And even if she did go back to Canada, I don't think, yeah. Anyway, Blondie, it's so crazy she could really do so much and does nothing to say. No. No, Carolyn Foodie's looking extremely unwell today. I only saw a screenshot. Her upper eyelids are really large. Deadhead 828. What would you do, Fat? What would I do? I missed a bit, so I don't know the question. B squared, right. It's both of these women. I feel like I'm now watching a slow, yes, a self-stuff movie. Definitely. Simply me, her rages started giving me anxiety attacks, so I had to black out. Back out, sorry. Hello, Shari. I am a cat lady. Amber is so boring that I stopped watching her. She's lost the plot, to be honest. If you just watch her, she is entirely just defending, basically spends her time just trying to prove people wrong now. And about things that are so obviously true. Jessica Seinfried, Bride. Hello, thank you so much. Sue W. Foodie's decline and watching this reason. You started your weight loss journey. Yes, she is a cautionary tale, that's for sure. That is for sure. Sandra May, thank you. Unicorn fart, sorry, not sorry, but she doesn't deserve to breathe in the same air as us. Well, it is hard to find any sympathy when you know basically who Foodie is, but at the same time, actually, my thoughts don't continue. I was going to say nobody likes to see anybody suffer. Yeah, nobody likes to see anybody suffer, but that's just a default empathy, I think, for basic human life and decency. Diddly. Right. Chantel's clubbed fingers. Ellie. Lovely name. Lovely name. Some of the names people come up with in Girls World are brilliant. Popping in to say hello. Hope everybody has a lovely weekend. Sending love and good vibes. Well, sending it back to you. Thank you so much. Reginald Sultan the Scout. Some of her chats should get secondary harm charges when the end comes. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Both a bizarre mixture of being evil and boring at the same time. I know. I am fascinated with the psychological aspect of foodie. Foodie is, as I've said many times, we should be grateful she's physically unable to cause physical harm to people she dislikes. Ironic how ALR has inspired so much weight loss while not losing weight her own self. I don't think that's what she had in mind, but you take it when you get it. She did say right at the very, very, very beginning she wanted to be an inspiration. So, you know, they has achieved their goal. Heather Anderson, I had gestational diabetes and my doctor was impressed how seriously I took it and followed the diet. Got to lose 20 pounds now to make sure I don't get diabetes. Not something I want to revisit. I mean, isn't that a common? I mean, congratulations and brilliant, but you would think it would be a common reaction to getting or developing something that potentially can end your life. But, you know, Tress Trueheart, nice to see you. Cowboy Dogs, who's a sociopathic, and it'll get worse. It will. It will. When a narcissist begins to lose uh, everything, the levels that they will go to, the desperation and the ridiculousness that they will go to try and maintain the facade, will be a sight to behold. And if there wasn't, hello Pebbles, if there wasn't the illness aspect involved, it would be a fascinating watch. Somebody's scratching the back of a chair. Sue W. As a cat lady who have decades, I also discussed a rarity situation with Ella. Just moves heaven and earth to get my cat back. You, I mean, I would be one, looking, and two, constantly crying. Her reaction was very muted for somebody who claimed to have loved her cat so much. And I am personally of the opinion that it was done deliberately in order to stay longer. And I will stand by that because it was just, you know, incredibly convenient. Apathy is just so rampant. It certainly is. A lot of people have gotten to the point where, see if I can get her to come over. Pebbles. Gotten to the point that, come on. Yep, she's thinking about it. Hey, baby. A lot of people in girl world, come on. Come here. Show everybody your pretty face. A lot of people have gotten to the point where they just can't support it. They can't work it anymore. Hang on. I know. Okay. Blondie, she did so little to find them safe, happy homes, and we are the haters. That's the interesting thing. That's one of the things actually that is the fact they have haters and they have huge groups of people that are considered haters, and they don't realize, they don't think, you know, why do I have these and other people don't? You know, you'd think they would have made the connection that why is there such a large group of people that don't like me? It's not really a coincidence, is it? You know, there's a common denominator, and you know, I wonder what will happen once Salah does a runner and she's left in Kuwait completely alone. I wonder if her family could afford to bring her back to Canada. I wonder if she can physically get back to Canada. to be honest. But my biggest, absolutely biggest concern is what happens to Julia. I hope Salah, when he does a runner, uh, I mean, he does love the cat, but obviously the cat's not his priority. That's my biggest concern is the cat. Absolutely, I'm surrounded by cats at the moment. It's quite disconcerting. My greatest concern is the cat. I don't care about anything else whatsoever, to be honest. Lullaby, I have three cats napping next to me, and one in your lap. I have three around me. I have one asleep next to me, and one doing something behind me, and one wondering what the other one is doing. Blondie, can someone with their issues ever see that through? No, no. Foodie's done for, basically. There's no. If at this stage, um, she's not scared to death enough. No. Jane Cobbs had the most annoying thing regarding Foodie is that there are so many who started out trying to help her and she ignored their advice and then labelled them as haters. It's the problem is what with all the personality disorders and everything. Sorry, yeah, with her personality disorders is everything will be seen as criticism, and she's very defiant. Blue Daisy, happy anniversary! Yes, thank you so much. It's a year. It's actually been a year. It's quite. It doesn't feel like a year at all. Definitely. Sorry, my Pebbles has been a. You know how lions and things lie on tree branches and kind of dangle. She's doing that on the back of a chair at the moment. She looks ridiculous, to be honest. Sorry. Blondie, I get that not everybody finds pets family, but if you can't, please, I beg of you, don't get them. They are not trophies. No. No. If you don't think of your pet as a child of yours as such, yeah. Heather Anderson, if you're not with me, you're against me. Absolutely, absolutely. If you do not categorically support what they are doing, even if what they're doing is absolutely awful, then you are by default against them. In the same way that there seems to be a certain thought process within girl world that if you don't like one, this is the FFG and the ABBA thing going on at the moment, which I'm not following. I don't know what's being said and stuff, but obviously it pops up on Twitter that if you say something against one, it's you get attacked for supporting the other. And as I said, just sometimes the enemy of your enemy is also your enemy. Just because you don't support one person doesn't mean you automatically support the other. Irish Blanco, hello. Deadhead 28. I think Amber is think Amber is just as bad. Think Amber is just as bad. Oh, Amber's more covert about her awfulness, let's say. Chickadee, happy anniversary. Thank you for coming into our lives and being fabulous. I'm still at work, so I'll catch the whole vid on replay. Oh, thank you so much. I hope work is pleasant and treats you well and goes by very, very quickly. Blondie, and that's the nature. We don't own them. We are their caretakers and they must be free in spirit. Yes, absolutely. Empress of Cloth, thank you so much. Oh, that's a really sweet thing to say. And I'm glad that this channel does something for some people, is all I can say. Thank you so much. Beelin, hello. B Square, simply me. I used to have mice and they're so cute. Get along well, my dogs and cats. I had mice for a bit. They're little buggers. That's all I can say. Cocoa Pops, hi Fat Cow. Deadhead, sorry I texted and I hit read before I read everything. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. Messaging live in real time is, you know, every typos and stuff. You look like you've never read a book in your life sometimes with the typos and things. And I'm dyslexic as well. And all I can say is thank goodness for spell check. Jane Cobb's hat, I've provided a lot of insights and factual information. I try to. I try to. Cocoa Pot's my first live and I'm brilliant. Thank you. Well, I am not pausing to eat. I am not staring into a void. So there's that. I'm a cat lady. Looking at some old foodie videos, she was always crass and rude, but she wasn't trying to appeal to feeders as she is now. It was always right from the very beginning, I think, from what I've seen in documentaries, it makes it sound like she's so serious. The videos people have made, from the very offset, the moment she first got a criticism, the very first something, it announced itself. And that's what perpetuated everything, because she reacted so obviously annoyed at a criticism right from the offset. She made it known almost immediately, I can be trolled, I can be provoked. And so that's how it all develops, I would imagine. I'm a cat lady. Looking forward to looking at some old footage. Yep, I did that one. Sorry. Sue W, I only found you a few weeks ago and I think you're great and speak a lot of sense. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Deadhead 828. I used to be an EMT. Would you resuscitate? I sorry, my brain's gone off in two different tangents, and one of the tangents is, can you resuscitate? I know that there is difficulty with people that are so morbidly obese. But anyway, we will not go there. Mariam, Suzanne, dear Fat Cow, thank you for all your videos. Lots of love and respect from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Oh, brilliant. Netherlands. I have always wanted to go. And my eldest is hoping to do 1 year of study there. So there's that. So maybe I will get to go. C-Rex, did you see she was nice to that 72-year-old woman that time and called her mummy a tin dust? She always goes for the obvious, doesn't she? The appearance, which just shows a chronic lack of intelligence. I find the more intelligent the person, the more nuanced their insults are. Beelin, my new cat rescued a 2-year-old leukemia positive sweetie who has learned to play. She's settling in, feeling safe. Oh, that's really sweet. Oh, bless. If I had, let's just say I hypothetically won the lottery. Okay. One of my lottery spending daydreams would be to rehome personally elderly cats. They're very difficult to adopt because they're so old. I want to be like I would like a retirement home for cats is one of my lottery dreams. A big plot of land with a bungalow, because then I won't have any stairs, and retirement home for cats. And also, if I was ludicrously wealthy, I would like to foster trans kids, teenagers. Anyway, so elderly cats and trans teens. Not obviously, I didn't mean, that made me sound like I was going to do a little rescue centre for trans teens, and that's not what I meant. But anyway, that would be my ideal scenario. But I've got to win the lottery first, and well, Pug Mama, my dream is if I win the lottery, I would buy a farm and rescue all animals. Yes, I would also have. I do have a bucket list of animals that I would like to look after. One of which is on top of my list is definitely capybaras. I love capybaras. I think they are incredibly sweet natured. Well, they seem sweet natured animals. Blue Daisy, I was in the ER once and a woman's foodie size came in and they were physically unable to resuscitate her because they couldn't do it. Yeah. Insolent Violet, all my cats have been rescued. If I adopt again, I'm getting older cats. They deserve to be loved as much as kittens. They certainly do. They certainly do. Empress of Cloth, I would also love to foster trans kids. I'm there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Simply Me, it is my dream to adopt and give homes to older shelter cats. Yeah. Chaucy, you have 7 cats. More power to you. 4 cats is a lot. When they get their little brains together, 4 cats is a lot. 4 cats is a lot. Insolent Violet, my daughter is completely obsessed with capybaras. They are sweet natured. They are. They are. I would, if I could, I would have capybaras. Yes. Absolutely. Jane Cobb's hat. Shell Daly asked if I could hold up the squishy. The squishy I'm cuddling is getting very flat. It's very well loved, and it's had many a cat sleeping on it. And while I'm here, of course I'm here. The giveaways, I went shopping because I wanted to say thank you to you guys. So if you don't want me to miss a comment for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be elsewhere, distracted, showing you stuff. So I can't do the both. But I wanted to thank you guys. And it turns out that Squishmallows are difficult to get hold of. And so I went and I brought a lot. And what will happen is once this is all done and dusted and finished, because I can't do it live and I can't whatever, anybody who has commented, there's programs on the internet that randomly select comments for you. I will put the whole lot. Could you just copy paste the URL? And it just randomly generates comments. And so if you've commented multiple times, you are multiply put in to receive something. So anybody who's commented could theoretically get a squishy. And so what will happen is after the live, I'm going to go back to bed. Hopefully, otherwise things are going to get very peculiar to me. And we'll randomly select, and then I will randomly distribute to the randomly selected people. But I just thought I'd show you guys what is on offer. Squishmallows. First guy. He is so cute. He is incredible. His little belly. Incredibly soft. Now, he's not a squish mellow, but he was too cute. Okay. Also not a squishmallow, but absolutely too cute to pass up. It's this guy. How ridiculously ridiculously cute he is. Now we're getting to the Squishmallows now. That this guy. This was in the last lot of giveaways I did, but the person who won it never came forward. So this little devil, this little tail. Got this. It's very, very cute. Very, very cute. Incredibly soft. Little tail. It's just suddenly when I hold him up and I saw the pattern in the computer, it made me think of Foodie. Little seal. An actual seal. Whose tail looks, unfortunately, sorry. Of course, there's a unicorn. We're almost done. Another. Yeah, hang on. There's one more. Hang on. It's a fish. How sweet is that? So, those are the giveaways. Randomly generated by, people who comment. And I will announce who's won. It's Bank Holiday Monday, Tuesday. I will do some community posts. How do you snatch one? You have already put yourself in for the draw already automatically by commenting. And the more you comment, the more you're in the draw. It's as simple as that. I will use a random generator to pick out comments, and I will announce which comments were chosen and randomly select the Squishmallow to go as well. So you will get a random Squishmallow if your comment is chosen. And there, I'm not expecting. I won't ask for postage. There is absolutely no money involved from your ends whatsoever. This is literally a giveaway. Okay, let's see if I can get back to this. I and Chef Jamie have got to the point where if I get a Squishmallow, then I have to get rid of one. Oh no. But they are very squishy, so you could, the area that the squishies cover still could be, just be more condensed. Mountain Laurel Squish, I'm hugging my emotional support pillow now. I know. That's why mine already looks so loved. Gets slept on. Gets leaned against. He gets hugged, and he has cats making biscuits. Yeah. Kelly Loomis, hello. Simply me, my emotional support stuffy is a very soft Paya Pug from Moana. I got it for Christmas. Fatal Bunny, I've never had one. I brought him a lot for my niece. Carolyn 150, I'm snuggly with my support squishy at the moment. Fatal Bunny, I thought I was too old. Oh, no. Never too old for a plushie. Absolutely never too old for a plushie. Nope, no such thing. I have, my other one is Cthulhu. And I got a Highland cow squishy from Amazon today, delivered. Unfortunately, it's gone to the neighbour. So I will have to pick that up, and I'll show you guys when I've got back at it. Jane Cobb's hat, my live Squishmallow is currently vying on to lie in my lap. She's very needy 5-year-old Bosch. Oh, bless. Squishmallow pair of Crocs. Didn't know that was a thing. Mr. Ranger Lab, I don't have one, but I did crochet an emotional support chicken for a good friend. I think emotional support plushies for adults should be a thing. There's no need to demonize having a toy that, find comfort from. Mello, the Duchess, happy anniversary, PC. Sorry I've been missing in chat. Health issue. Oh, I'm so sorry. Still watch your videos. Love and health to you. And to you too. Blue Daisy, my youngest is 23 and I still buy her stuffies and she loves them all. I know. I have technically an adult child now and a teenager, and the amount of stuffies in my house, I would say probably between the three of us is something in the region of 500 at least. Picks. You have 19 squishmallows and you'll be 51 in October. I'm 53 in December. I personally own three squishmallows now, but that is not the end. We've also got a bit of a thing for fugglers. We have 30 fugglers in our house currently. Simply me, I sleep with my stuffy. I take it to my infusions as well. It's been a long 8-hour day. I'm so sorry about the day. And yeah, I mean, this is a bit big to take everywhere. I have, I'm trying to think. I have a tiny, that's on my car keys, my fuggler. Fugglers have buttholes. Yes, that was interesting. Interesting to know. I went to a charity shop today after an appointment with the bank that went on for far, far too long. And sitting in that chair for over an hour almost crippled me. But that's not the point. And I managed to get a fleece unicorn rainbow blanket, which is going to make the best plushie in the world when I get to it. I am sure. But anyway. GDK. Hey, Saggy, sister, mine's the 13th. I hope that's in reference to a birthday. Sorry. Carolyn, what are fugglers? Fugglers? Okay, the word fuggler is the word funny, ugly combined, and they're dolls, and they all have vinyl teeth. Okay, this one has gold pants. That's a fuggler. They're very big here in the UK. They all have buttholes, and basically they are allegedly funny, ugly. I haven't got any that I can grab hold of without leaving my seat. And I'm not going to do that because my kids have loads. But they're very collectible here. They're quite a big thing. Becoming keychains and all sorts of stuff. Some people don't like the teeth. And the eyes are always a bit starey, let's say. Mello the Duchess. You thought it meant fun ugly for years, Lowell. I always thought it was effing ugly for a bit, to be honest, yes. Sandra Davy, I have about 15 pandas of various sizes. Pandas are ridiculous animals too. They don't strike me as being particularly intelligent, which is one of the sweet things about them. Land designer, hello from across the pond. I know that when you say from across the pond, it means in the USA, but I'm technically across the pond in the other direction. But we don't say that, do we? No. Hello. Oh, Kel Bell, thank you so much. My squishy from you has become my emotional support buddy. My kitty loves it too. You're the best. Congrats on one day. Thank you so incredibly much. I tell you what, I got one of these, not the same one, but these size squishmallows for myself and my kids, and they make incredibly good cat beds. Not on purpose, obviously, that wasn't the intention, but uh, cats love them, absolutely love them, and technically they're cheaper than most cat beds too. So there's that. We call that a tip. If you want a cat bed, buy a large squishmallow. So then you've got something cute to look at that you can cuddle, and your cat will appreciate too. Insolent violence and a about the same for us. One of them belongs to my cat too. Yeah. Uh, can I tell you about my forehead tattoo? So the thing is about my forehead tattoo is, I know technically there should be this incredible story and lore behind it and things, and really it's in part. One, I'm an incredibly impulsive person. Well, I wouldn't say I'm impulsive because I do think things through, but once I get an idea in my head, um, it nags and nags and nags and nags and nags until it happens. It's the ADHD part of my brain. For example, um, I could have a whole list of things that absolutely categorically have to be done, have to be done, and are much more important. And as you know, I only have so many spoons. And so you have to do the things that are important first. And then my brain will go, do you know what would be a really good idea? Why don't you rearrange your bedroom? And I'll be having this conversation with myself saying, but my bedroom's fine. It doesn't need rearranging. What really needs being done is washing the carpet. And my brain's like, no, rearrange your bedroom. And I'm like, no, wash the carpet. And if I don't rearrange the bedroom, I can go about a week. But if I don't rearrange the bedroom, nothing will get done at all. So it has to go out of my system. And I got the idea about a head tattoo, and I got to the point where I came up with adapted the design and things, and there was a lot of back and forth in my brain about whether it was a good idea or not. And the part of me that thinks, well, I'm 52. I want to look how I want to look. I don't care what other people think. I'm very, I want to age not disgracefully, but I have a certain image in my mind how I want to look as an older lady as well. And yeah, not very well described, basically. But in an ideal scenario, um, I would end up looking like some kind of Viking village elder. I think might be the closest description that I can come in, or something between a village elder, Viking village elder, and somebody in a wasteland, apocalyptic, Mad Max kind of thing, with a bit of barmaid wench, medieval barmaid wench kind of Maid Marian thing, with the occasional 1950s wiggle dress. If that has a name, I don't know. Sarah Glenn, I'm feeling more conflicted about FB. I'm pretty certain there's something genetic going on that has hugely contributed to her physical, mental health, and behaviour. Oppositional defiant disorder, narcissism, maybe histrionic personality disorder. She has, in my opinion, see, now you got to say that bit, otherwise you get in trouble. There are a lot of personality disorders that, in combination, creates, has created. And then you add in the environmental factors growing up and the relationships and the family dynamics and everything. And it was just the perfect recipe for an imperfect result, let's say. Jane Cobb's app, yep, ODD, NPD, BPD. I'm not sure about the BPD, to be honest, 100%, but there's so many PDs involved that, I mean, out of the list, the only one I don't think she has might be the antisocial personality disorder, but I'm not entirely sure about that either. And I think her health and her mobility might be tempering that a little, if that's the case. Might possibly be on the spectrum. I'm not entirely sure about that. If I was going to choose Amber or Foodie in that regards, I'm more inclined towards Amber. MG, hello. I'm finding Foodie really difficult, or rather just uncomfortable to even look on these days. Yeah, exactly. I am only watching a few reaction channels, and even then, it's not even daily. Every morning I will watch Unicorn Pondu to see if there's anything of note to look into. If there is, I will then watch a couple of others just to see the different perspectives. Otherwise, that's it. Although I will, by default, watch anything that Sansa Cooks puts up and anything that Milky Tea puts up. So there's that. And also, I catch up on that Amber through Karina Kaboom and Salty Crab. And then I will decide if there's anything worth commenting on. And to be absolutely honest, there have been things I have wanted to say, but it will be more of the same things I've already said, just with the added caveat, it's getting worse. Yeah. Yes, Jane Cobbs. We got to see her in live the other day, just how much weight she's actually gained and that she's actually now wider than her fridge. Yeah, and it's... See, I'm wondering to what extent, how can you not know? I know that reverse body dysmorphia is a thing, and you can think that you're actually slimmer than you actually are. And I understand not appreciating your size when you've got to it, because when I was closer to 300 pounds, I don't think I realised the extent that it had gotten to. It's only once I lost about 20 kilos. I'm still trying. I still have a long way to go, and it's very, very, very difficult. That I can, I mean, appreciate's the wrong word, but retrospectively looking back, I was huge, huge. But at the time, I don't think I realised how big I actually was at 300 pounds. Bearing in mind, I'm also 5'8". But I think I was, at the very least, a UK size 24. Probably bigger, but I wore very flowy dresses. So as long as they fit the bust, everything else just kind of draped. But in reality, I was probably a couple of sizes bigger than that even. So while I can understand you can't appreciate it, you don't necessarily appreciate the size that you are when you're big. Um, at the very least, she must realize she's bigger. Surely, I mean, how can you not? But then again, in the same way that she thinks that her breathing difficulties is legitimately asthma and doesn't actually seem to um, associate her weight with breathing, is also quite confusing. That's all I can say. Sorry. Right, let's get back to this. CW, the only reactors are still making content palatable. I think that's in reference to Milky and milk tea. Stormy Judge had to be sideways to get anything out of the refrigerator. It's got to be frightening. You'd think, but I would also imagine that by default, the fact that she's in front of the refrigerator looking for food probably is the most dominant thought at the time. Foodie doesn't have fetal alcohol syndrome, with all due respect. People are throwing that diagnosis around a lot these days, it seems. People are, and I think that's unfair, to be honest. Um, sorry, that when I go quiet, it's because my brain has decided to have several thoughts at once. And obviously, the more than one thought at once and the speaking isn't something I can do at the same time. So, Empress of Cloth, you never understood how big I was. Photos horrify me. I can't realize how tiny I am. It's weird. Um, the thing is, when you take a photograph of yourself, you always do it at a certain angle and things and whatever, and you can't appreciate it. But then you see a photograph somebody else took at you, and you think, no, that's not right. That's not me. Um, the thing that made me really, really realize is actually putting on a dress that I was wearing, and then thinking, wow, that's roomy. Um, yeah. Lynn, she gets out of breath breathing, and that doesn't worry her. No, it's her asthma. It's definitely her asthma. The fact that she has to wear a CPAP when she lays back now, and we all know a CPAP, which isn't oxygen. An oxygen thing would be up the nose thing. How a CPAP works is it just literally forces the air down into your lungs for sleep apnea and stuff. So basically, because she wears a CPAP laying down, it means that her literal weight is crushing her lungs and the ability for the lungs to expand. So she has to wear the CPAP so that the air is forced into her lungs. And if she thinks that's because of asthma, then she is, well, we know she deludes herself. Stormy Jade, it's easier for people to think she has a birth defect rather than accepting that it's just her personality that is so evil and self-serving. Yes, but also it's kind of shit that people would think in reverse that having a birth defect makes you evil, because it doesn't. Brain injury can. A lot of psychopaths, a lot of serial killers, a lot of psychopathic serial killers statistically have had head injuries, because you know, 1 in every 100 people are psychopaths, and obviously not 1 in every 100 people are going around murdering everybody. A lot of serial killers had head injuries at some point in their earlier lives. One that immediately comes to mind is Fred West. He had several catastrophic head injuries, falling off his motorbike. And although he was already very deviant before that, After the head injury, he became even more hypersexual, fixated on getting sex in any way, shape, or form that he could, and progressed to, well, we all know the history. So that subject matter in terms of the psychopathic brain, because scientists are discovering that there is actual differences in psychopathic brains on various brain scans and things. And that in conjunction with things like obviously the environment and how they were brought up and stuff and raised, plus head injuries, seems to be a cluster of things that seem to be very predominant in serial killers. And that is a video I do plan on making in the future. Anyway, Stormy J, the CPAP will increase her pulse ox. Air forces her lungs to expand and increase your oxygen in the body. Tiggs, I think some people are just born bad. I think some people are born into an environment with a certain genetics that means that they never stand a chance. And should that child have been put in a different environment, things would have been very different. Jane Cobb's hat. I'm on the NHS waiting list for a CPAP machine due to sleep apnea. Got consultant list at 6th of Jan this year. Wait time is 9 to 10 months. Yeah. In terms of waiting lists for any health thing on the NHS, it's shocking. But at the same time, the need is also, hello Pebs. Come on. It's also at least we don't pay for it. There's something. Hello Pebbles. Yes. You're gonna get in the way. Now I can't get close enough to the computer to actually read. That's all right. I'm gonna bring you a bit closer so I can read. Simply me. Yes, Pebbles. What you do? Will you come on here? Come on. Come on. There you go. All right. Sorry, guys. I can't read at the moment. I will once she's decided where she's settling down. She's now making biscuits on the squishmallow. Where's my supper, mummy? Yeah, Pebbles. She is. Very unusual colouring. She has no actual black. She is. I dilute, which means that the colouring's pale. Tabby Co, which is a combination of a calico, obviously, and a tabby. She's got one of her legs is like completely a tabby, and she also has, see, her best side in terms of explaining a tabby coat is facing me, but she's got tabby, obviously. She basically she's a dilute tabby coat. Yes. Go on, little. Yeah. When she was a baby, she used to suckle my ears, but then I got my ears stretched, and she can't anymore. She wants to. She really, really wants to. CPAP's around £700. Bloody hell. I had sleep when I was at my heaviest. I had sleep apnea. According to my then boyfriend, presumably. I mean, it's also the curse of an extremely large-breasted individual, and then when you add the weight on as well. Tiggs, I have a pastel calico. I'm going to have to look that up. See what the difference between pastel and dilute is. You can rent CPAPs in the USA. Sorry, that's my brain clicking out. Sorry. Hello, puppet. Pebbles is 6. So she's my eldest cat, and she is tiny. Major of India, can we have tea on Saturdays? I'm going to try, at the very least, to make a live monthly. More than that, I can't. The problem is I can't promise things when it comes to uh, commitments, future commitments. There was a part of me today that very, very much wanted to apologize about not having a live, because once I got home from the bank, my back was horrendous. But I figured I would wait until after I'd had some sleep before making that decision. When I woke up, although my back still hurts, it's not nearly as bad as it was. So I will. I'd like to do this at least once a month, and that's this isn't something I could do, like every week. I don't know how some people do it every day. It would drive me absolutely batty. Eleanor Rigby, your daughter had rats. They're also smart, personable, and they have such short lifespans. They are very sweet, very, very sweet, very, very sweet, cancerous creatures. I had rats in my 20s for a bit. Used to feed them cooked pasta spirals, and they'd sit there holding their little spiral and eating, and also peanut butter sandwiches. It was very, very cute. MG, that's what a cat that loves its mum looks like, Foodie. Yeah, none of my cats, apart from, I mean, I'm not saying I've never been bitten by a cat. I have one cat that's quite fond of if, when you're sitting on the toilet, biting your toes. But that's not. Julia bites Foodie a lot. I find it quite odd because apart from playful bites on my toes, I've never been bitten by any of my cats. But anyway. We're all talking about cats now. Of course, we're talking about cats. Cats are incredible creatures. I don't understand people who don't like cats. But toe bites are not the same, no. Bit inconvenient when you're on the toilet, though. Foodie demands cuddles from Julia, which she hates. Yeah, you shouldn't. I don't, unless I'm moving them out of the way because I've got absolutely no choice. I do not pick up my cats. Absolutely do not pick up my cats. Julia's body language is almost always negative, yes. It's not that I don't like them, I'm deathly allergic to them. That is very unfortunate. If I became allergic to cats, I would just take antihistamines because cats are a necessity for me. Absolutely. I don't feel right if I don't have a cat. I love cats. My art area is pink with cat decorations. Hello, Burgundy Rose Bundy. Hello. Sarah Glynn, Eleanor Rigby is the heartbreaking thing with rodents. Their short lifespans. Mulder lived to 4. That's quite old for a cat. Scully was 3 when she passed. I couldn't put myself through that again. That's so sweet. Oh, for human reaction purposes, they love to watch us jump. My brain's buffering again. 9 Lives, happy anniversary. Thank you, Coco Pops. You mentioned being married to a Muslim or that you lived in the Middle East. Do you think Foodie exaggerates being a so-called Muslim revert? Exaggerates? She is a piss poor example of a Muslim. Um, I mean, She said today or yesterday, or it might have been an older clip, that it's so difficult to be kind. Not so difficult to be kind. It's so difficult. Yeah, she said it's so difficult to be good. And I'm thinking, no, it's not. It's not difficult to be good. And it was when she was talking about how she thought that life was heaven for non-believers and hell for believers. And it's so difficult to be good. In her way, so it's very hard for her to do the things that are required for her from her religion, and that to do those things would make her life hell. Well, no. When you are doing what is expected from you from that religion, your life is not hell. It just doesn't, involve the things that Foodie personally finds enjoyable. She cosplays as a Muslim. She's on video proclaiming she only wears a hijab to cover her hair loss. Yes, yes. Prior to her very, very quick reversion, there are videos, and apparently, according to Foodie, she was joking. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Voodoo on you. Thank you so much. Aya, earth was heaven for sinners and hell for good Muslims like herself. I think the delusion as to whether Foodie is a good Muslim or not. The delusion for Foodie is the same as the delusion that she's not as big as she actually is. I think there is some dysmorphia involved in a lot of various aspects of Foodie's life. The reason they call them reverts and not coverts, reverts, is the belief in Islam that everybody is actually born Muslim, theoretically, and to revert is to go back to finding what they consider is the default belief system. So that's why they're not converts. They haven't changed from one religion to another or one belief system to another. They've just gone back to what they believe was the original belief system. Rule number one, absolutely. Blue Daisy, I love my big boy cats. I really love them all. I just have girls. I just have girls. I just figured because my first cat was a girl, I just thought it'd be easier if every cat I got was a girl. But my soul cat was a big ginger tom called Cashew. Yeah, sorry. Happy anniversary to a fellow English cat lover, Neurospicy Spoonie. Thank you so much. 9 lives, I can't believe Foodie's still breathing. Yes, but it's with help. I feel naughty saying that. She's totally ignorant, willful, I think. She needs Julia to love her, but she's got no respect for Julia, and she doesn't really care that much for her, I think. Julia's disposable. Like she proved. The idea, the actual idea of choosing. If I met somebody and dated somebody and they told me that, if we move in together, I cannot bring my cats, then I'm not moving in with them. If they said I couldn't have my cats at all, then I wouldn't be with them. The cats are my family. But the idea of giving up your pets for a person when you've had your pets for almost 2 decades is unfathomable to me at all. At all. I mean, The idea of giving up my pets anyway is unfathomable, but especially a cat that's been with you for so long. So long? No. I mean, you're all that cat has ever known for its entirety of its life. And it's a long life. And cats don't like change. They do not like change. Um, yeah, giving up BBJ and Sam proves exactly what kind of person she is. And she was going to do that for Nada without issue. Absolutely categorically, even before then. Um, I mean, the bottom line for me is I couldn't be in a relationship with somebody who didn't like cats because I have so many and cats are a part of my life. And it doesn't make sense for me to be involved with somebody who doesn't like cats. It's kind of love me, love my cats thing, you know? Phat Cow, thanks to my patient husband, I've tamed, rescued, and homed approximately 150 feral cats and counting, well over 200. Oh, wow. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely good for you. My oldest cat lived to 22 and he started life as a feral. I know. Cats, cats don't do well as ferals, and it's our fault that there are feral cats, and we should try and rehome them. Eleanor Rigby, 1965. I'm so glad you make content and I found a channel. I love everything about you. Your look, your vibe, your knowledge that you bring, and just your vibe in general. That it's incredibly sweet of you to say. I'm very, very grateful. I didn't expect when I started this a year ago today, as we all know, I don't know what I expected. I expected a lot more flack and a lot more negativity than I've actually gotten. But there again, I'd only been watching people who, as a rule, get a lot of negativity, and I just thought that that was how the internet was. But it was no, it's the type of people I was watching that were getting the hate, and it's just the old adage: your people find you. You get what you attract, and as I said right at the very beginning of this, that the fact that both Foodie and ALR have haters and so many haters is testimony to them and their characters, and they've never don't seem to have made the connection, because I have very, very, very rarely, gotten any flack, and I hope this continues. Everybody's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, outstandingly brilliant. Thank you so much, Sandra Davy. That is so incredibly generous of you. Thank you. Oh, Shari, that is brilliant, and thank you for reminding me about memberships. Hang on. Super sticker, super chat. Nope. I think I set this up in general that everybody who's a member automatically has a free chat. Get your audience. Members. Oh, you think I'd learn to do this by now? Hang on. It's at the top. Community. No. Okay, can somebody tell me how I can donate the members? Because I can't find it. Because when I click on the money icon, it just gives me super stickers and super chats. How would I gift memberships? This is annoying. I am on a desktop from a laptop. I have to go to the website, not use the app. I'm on the website. Okay. Show your support. Super stickers. Super chat. Oh, okay. No. Why is that? All right. Join button, I think, not the money sign bit. Join. Where is the join button? Okay, no, because I literally can't find it because there is a little icon that has a dollar sign, and when I click on it, it just says super chat and stickers. And I would have presumed that is where the memberships are. All right. I'm looking for a join button, but I guess I wouldn't have a join button, would I? Because right. Thank you. I'm a cat lady. That is very cute. Cute. It's very kind of you. Thank you. Within the live chat, tap membership gifting, select the number of viewers. Tap membership. I can't find the membership gifting though. That's a problem. Run your images through. The problem is that it's very, very confusing because on a previous live I did know where they were, and now hello, Crime and Crochet. Hello. This is me growling. Hello, Sandra Davy. Yes, the only thing I know for sure is I set up the every member autumn. Thank you, Fatal Bunny. That's really sweet. That members all have a free super chat. Is that how it works? But this is really annoying because in studio. Oh no, and I do not want to leave the site. Okay. I will definitely find out before the next one because I want to. I want to do that. I'm going to have to ask Pedro Pascal for help. Oh, thank you, Empress of Cloth. I look gorgeous even while I was searching. I'm not going to rewatch this back because then I'll see my face every time my brain does something. Sorry. Creme and Crochet, you was the first ever member when you were doing memberships before glad you seeing them again. You were, weren't you? Yes, I remember. Yes. Not Pedro Pascal. Yeah, not if he throws his litter out of the car. No. Did I watch The Last of Us? What did I have? I am really, 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 really bad at watching new stuff. I have so many new things I want to watch, but I always, because I watch things in the background while doing other things like sewing and stuff, it's, I guess my brain can handle watching stuff I've already watched multiple times before, as opposed to having to watch something new, which I have to concentrate on. So I have not seen The Last of Us. There are a lot of things that I do actually legitimately want to see in terms of TV series and films and stuff. But my brain absolutely insists on watching the same things over and over and over again. I've seen Breaking Bad at least 5 times in its entirety. I've seen The Walking Dead at least 5 times, not in its entirety. I got 3 episodes into the very last season and gave up. Now you'd think I'd finish it, but I completely lost interest on about the 3rd episode of the last season, and so I don't know how it ends, and I can't do it. I can't watch it. So it is a very unfinished thing, and the fact I've seen the entire thing like 5 times up until that point is a brain thing that I can't get over. I didn't see the finale of the Santa Clara Diet, the one with Drew Barrymore as a zombie. I saw all of that apart from the last few episodes. I've, and if I want to see the last few episodes, I'm going to have to start at the very beginning because that's just how my brain works. ADHD can be absolutely brilliant when it comes to consuming content. Insolent Violet, I do the same. I would rather watch something I love many times before the risk of wasting something viewing time on the unknown. Also, because when it's new, you have to concentrate. May the 4th be with you. Oh, gosh, yes, it is. It's now the 4th. He was in Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, I made the entire first series and then a couple of episodes of the second one. And that was it. I guess I kind of lost interest when Jason Momoa was no longer in it. Fatal Bunny, I too have the same series I watch. I do it in seasons. My husband pointed that out to me. Outlander in the early fall. Little House on the Prairie is late winter. Santa Clarita Diet, yeah. Game of Thrones requires too much concentration. I don't know. I've gotten the things I really should continue watching are the new seasons of The Handmaid's Tale. I've now that June is out, I've kind of lost interest. But it seems I've seen some interesting clips that got to watch. But I am really bad at starting new stuff or continuing stuff when I've gone off it for a bit. Really, really bad. The amount of films I want to watch and I just watch the same. I decide I want to watch a film, which is rare, and inevitably it's Cabin in the Woods or The Evil Dead or Actually, that's about it at the moment on my film rotor. If I want to watch a film, sometimes this is a secret. I will have a guilty watch of Pacific Rim, but that's just, we all have our faults. Okay, Severance was very good. Severance is on my list of things to start. Blackadder is an easy watch, apart from the first series. I don't like the first series so much, but the rest of it, easy watch. Yes, very much so. Pedro was in Games of Thrones. I've never seen him in it. I do know how it ends because he was in an interview talking about how it ends and the prosthetics that were involved and stuff. I'm sorry, I just told you that he ends. Sorry. We end up going back to Only Fools and Horses because he's always on UK TV. Audiobooks. Sounds pathetic. I've recently discovered audiobooks. Very good to sleep to. Audiobooks. The last audiobooks I listened to are All Tomorrows and Man After Man, which is speculative evolution, speculative biology. Finally came off, which is really, I've listened to a few Stephen King audiobooks too. There was one Stephen King audiobook that was 10 hours. You like to sleep to creepypastas? I just like to. I find like very long YouTube videos, things that are like 4 or 5 hours. So it'd be like retrospectives on entire series or things, and it's less to do with the subject matter, although that is important, and more to do with the voice. Or I will have some people's playlist and just listen to their entire thing. But I have to have something playing when I fall asleep. Although now that it's summer, I can probably swap that out for the fan noise. The stand. I think the audiobook for the stand is, I think it's in 2 7-hour sections, I think. Many years ago, I watched a Rocky Horror Picture Show many times with friends. It's so unique at the time, seems so old-fashioned now. I only watched it for the first time last year. And the problem is, it's also like with horror movies that are considered classics, like from the 80s and stuff. If you saw them at the time, of course, they're going to be scary and revolutionary and stuff. But I didn't watch them at the time because I was terrified of horror films and horror books and stuff for a very long time. And that changed when I was a student. I started reading Stephen King, and now I can watch the most god-awful splatter gore things and not have any response whatsoever. But prior to that, I couldn't even be in the same room as somebody watching a horror movie. And it was only reading Stephen King books and realizing, well, this isn't so bad. Some people say when they read a book, they get so scared they can't pick it up, or it gives them nightmares. And I've never read a book that did that. And so after reading the books and realizing actually it's not so scary after all, I started watching gory films, and I have very little reaction to them, which I guess I should be concerned about theoretically, but I don't know. As long as nobody does anything with people's eyes, I'm fine watching pretty much anything. The last thing that really bothered me actually film-wise, because as I said, I've watched all the Saw movies, none of that bothered me. I watched the Hostel movies, none of that bothered me. The last time I got bothered by a movie was actually Talk to Me. And it was the scene where the guy was bashing his own head on the floor. That bothered me. Eddie Izzard is brilliant. absolutely brilliant. He's sense of humour is um, very much similar to my own. B Square. Thankfully, I don't have nightmares no matter what I watch or read. No, no. The only film that legitimately gave me nightmares, and also I think it was very circumstantial at the time, was Event Horizon. And it was that scene where you saw what happened to the other crew. And the reason it bothered me at the time was I watched it, it's going to sound a bit weird, while I was a practicing Muslim. And that scene very, very, very much resonated with me, as in my idea of what hell would be like. And so it really bothered me at the time. And I actually had nightmares for a while. Don't have the same response now. And then the talk to me when the guy was bashing his own head in, as the only two things that bothered me. Also, I was in the Middle East at the time as well with this, when the Human Centipede came out. Iron Chef, thank you so much. Have I read Dungeon Crawler Carl? There's a character called Princess Donut. That is a talking cat. I think I'd love the audio book. Talking cat. I will give it a listen to. As long as the person who's reading it has a nice voice, because there's some videos you want to watch and the presenter will have that there'll be something about their voice that you just can't, no offense to them or anything, you just can't listen to it. As I was saying, I was in the Middle East at the time, and then I read about the Human Centipede, and although I've never seen them, for about 3 days after reading about the synopsis and the premise, the actual idea of the actual Human Centipede plagued me. It bothered me. The idea of the attaching and stuff. So although I've never seen the Human Centipede, it was the concept of really bothered me for a bit. A few days. It just kept popping into my head. And then the people that come up with these ideas, you have to think about them too. Human Centipede was gross and horrible and sad and depressed, and couldn't watch Centipede either. Centipedes are cute, fascinating. Centipedes in themselves, I like the really big. I think they're fascinating. Will this be a 12-hour live? No. Centipede, the one with the weird guy. Ooh. Which one? I mean, the guy that played the Doctor, very well cast, I must say. And the guy that played the security guard, very well cast. No one needs that in their brain, no. The concept bothered me enormously. There's an excellent comic book adaptation of The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. That's on Netflix, isn't it? Because I have The Sandman graphic novels. That's another thing that was on my list. My list of things I really have to be in the right frame of mind to start something new. Thank you so much, Here to Judge. Thank you. That's really kind of you. Exactly. The voice is important, like my voice. That's so sweet. Somebody sent me a Twitter the other day. I have my suspicions who it was from. And they said that I had the most hideous face in girl world and that my voice was really annoying. And I thought that was hilarious. I just did. It tickled me immensely. It was from an account that had only existed 6 months, I think. But I have my suspicions as to who it's from. That, yeah. Hang on. What the fuck? Not so true. I mean, you're allowed to. I mean, but it's a very personal choice whether you find somebody's voice nice or not. Um, I like strong accents personally, um, particularly Scottish accents. Uh, but and thank you, Eleanor. I find in my personal experience of actual physical interactions, uh, thank you, Lalaboo. That's very, very sweet of you to join. And I hope you have a really good day. In my personal experience of Americans, um, Americans are quite fond of my accent. Uh, I had a run in with a group of American students when I was a student, and they kept trying to say aeroplane. And then they'll be, Jonathan, come here. Listen to how she says airplane. It's just like, it's really sweet. Troll foodie. If not foodie, then someone very close. In foodie circle. Yeah, is all I can say. Your accent is the nicest way possible. It's a very generic English accent. Mine, on the other hand, is last of the summer wine. Oh, but that's a nice accent. I like northern accents. I like hello. Yeah. All right. Yeah. What else do I watch on YouTube, on YouTube that's not Girl World related? I watch Rona Gaming, who talks about the biology and mostly about the infectious diseases and illnesses in films. He'll explain like the zombies in The Last of Us, the cordyceps infection. He gives a brief synopsis of the film and then talks about the infection, the disease, the virus involved. So he gives. He's a microbiologist, I believe. Um, Former micro. Oh no, I mean he used to work in labs as a microbiologist, and now does this commentary. He has millions of subscribers, and so he does a film synopsis, and then he talks about like he talked about the what the if the what the virus could be in real day life, like in, as I said, The Last of Us, the cordyceps. He also does it for video games. Um, so he's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Um, WoW Comics Explained also talks about the biology of the infections in games and videos and films as well, and I find that really really interesting. Uh, there is Thought Potato, and they talk about speculative biology and things of that nature in fiction. So I like to watch uh, people who are qualified in a certain area talk about things that are outside their area in media, fictional stuff. So it's like having a watching a documentary about dinosaurs, except the dinosaurs are fiction. So it's dinosaurs on steroids. So people describe um, sorry, I just got slapped in the face. Um, she has a very active tail, this cat. and you do get hit with it a lot. So that's the kind of thing I watch when I'm not watching Girl World. I also like to watch a lot of things that talk about psychology. It's kind of a combination between fiction and biology. Currently, is my thing. Speculative biology, you must look that up. Speculative biology, okay, is a whole genre of there's speculative fiction is a whole subcategory of sci-fi. And within that, you have speculative evolution, which talks about how we or other things, animals and stuff, could have evolved into, or where we're going in the future. And speculative biology is talking about the adaptations that animals could have had if put in a different environment and things. And it's really fascinating. It's like theoretical biology. What if? There's something, for example, there's a whole series on what if the dominant species on the planet was ants, and the ants involved to take the place of other creatures because the other creatures didn't exist. So actually the best one, if you want to get an idea of it, is there is somebody who did a series, it's just 2 videos of if frogs were the dominant species, and if like the predators weren't around, evolution would create a frog that would take the place of the predators, and then you'd have the frog taking place of the birds and frogs taking place of the fish. So if you started like with a basic frog, and how it would develop off into the different ways to fill in the gaps left by the absence of the other animals. And so there's tree dwelling frogs that replace the apes, and frogs that replace the fish, and frogs that replace the predators. And how the developments, how they would, the biology would, over millions of years, we're talking about, develop into them filling the niches, the gaps in the environment. So it's very interesting to see how somebody's thought process would decide what adaptations the frog would make in order to fill these gaps. It's not just about frogs. It's just an example that I was thinking of. Some people have done ants. Some people have taken it in how we would have developed had we been born on different planets, how we would have, evolved and developed to adapt. And also there's, speculative biology about how we would have adapted in the future as well, like millions of years in the future. It's just really fascinating. Have I seen Life After People? Is fascinating. Life After People. There's Man After Man, and then there's something after that, isn't there? Where somebody did some fan fiction about some of the species that went extinct in Man After Man. What they would have developed into hadn't they not gone extinct. Is that one? Are you Southerners all safe from the recent storms? Is that in the States? I'd imagine that's in the States. Obviously, it must be. And I hope everybody who is experiencing any extreme weather is safe. Crown's Princess of Flatulence. That is an absolutely fantastic username. Oh. Well, I hope everybody and everybody's loved ones and pets and everything is safe. Crying in the Club. Hello. Happy anniversary to me. Sorry. I didn't know how to respond to that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Candice Young. I'm an old school zombie movie fan, original Dawn of the Dead and George Romero ones. I do like the zombie genre. Absolutely do. The last audiobook I listened to was actually World War Z, which is actually really, really, really good and not like the film in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. And is highly, highly, highly recommended. Gives you a lot to think about in terms of human nature and governmental responses to things. My favourite viewing is generally sci-fi, Three-Body Problem, Foundation Dune, all things Star Wars and stuff that makes you think dark time travel concepts. Sci-fi was a genre that I came into very, very late, to be honest. Shaun of the Dead is one of the funniest films I've ever made. It is incredibly clever. It is incredibly clever, and I have seen that quite a few times. If you like speculative bio, I think you'd like Children of Time by Adrian Trevkovsky. I listened to the audiobook, has the evolution of a civilization of spiders. See, I've heard of Adrian Trevkovsky. Children of Time. Oh, that sounds brilliant. There's nothing like those old ones, truly. I thought your treasure cat embroidery a while back it's in my mantle above the... Oh, hello. Yeah, I did like that Cheshire Cat. The problem with embroidery is I would do more embroidery to sell, but it's so time consuming. I can make a stuffy in a day, 2 days. Okay, but when I did this eye here on this guy, the eye in itself embroidered took a day. And so it's not... Yeah. I mean, it's a very time consuming pursuit. It is very time consuming. It's worth it. It's very rewarding once you've finished. But yeah, my stomach is rumbling. Oh dear. You love how I make the swirls. I like doing them. Hey, Phat Cow Chronicles and chat. I see I've been gifted a membership. Not sure who, but wanted to say thank you so much. Love your channel. You're so talented. Thank you. That is absolutely darling of you to say so. I knit and it takes a whole year to make a sweater. I tried knitting, and I haven't tried crocheting. Crocheting I find quite intimidating, to be honest. Knitting, I can only do one stitch, and I cannot get my head around anything else. It's just I blank. Shell Vicious, I'm a beautiful soul. Thank you so much. That's really sweet of you to see. Oh, you embroider as well? Yes, it's time consuming. Yeah, I do like embroidery. I do like embroidery a lot, but the results aren't instantaneous enough for my brain currently. If you want instant results from a hobby, felting is the one for you. That's all I can say. Felting is just taking wool and stabbing it with a needle that is barbed until the wool meshes and becomes a shape. And so this is needle felting. This all started out as wool. And you just stab it, stab it, stab it, stab it until it becomes a shape. And it is very quick and quite satisfying because you get to stab things. You also stab yourself a bit, unfortunately, but you get to stab yourself with things like this. Each individual needle here is barbed, and so as you stab the wool, it becomes matted and then becomes a solid shape, and it is loads of fun. Absolutely loads of fun. Do I like perfumes? I I'm very, I like things that smell like fruit, basically citrus fruit. I'm very fond of grapefruit and a lemon, and I like coconut. And I'm very simple. I don't like things that are mixed too much. But I do love perfume, but I just like the very basic single things. My favorite brand of perfume is, well, it's not a perfume, it's more a body spray. I don't entirely understand the difference. Where did it go? That's not it. Is So SO dot 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 question mark. And they have a pink grapefruit, which is fabulous, and they have a vanilla, which is fabulous. I've gotten back to crochet after many decades absence. Love it, so much fun. Why, my mother is, when it comes to knitting and crocheting, is absolutely phenomenal. And she tried to teach me, and I just couldn't get my brain around it. It's like a blank. Absolutely, my brain does not register. I am very, very bad at following instructions. Even when I sew, I don't follow patterns and stuff. I just wing it. So anything that comes with instructions, brain is not interested in. Love coconut, grapefruit, and lemon, but also love musk. Quite fond of, I don't know, back in the day, the Body Shop peach was very nice, if I remember rightly. Does Body Shop still exist? I don't know, actually. When I colour my hair, what brand of dye do I use? My hair, apart from this bit, where I've got no roots, because you can see it's grown, because it's white, naturally, is quite dark. Or was quite dark, is now like 30% grey. And there is this Dutch hairdresser on Instagram that I followed. And he said, and I tried what he said, and it works perfectly with my hair, that if you want to really lighten the colour of your hair, don't go for the higher percentage volumes of bleach, like the 40%, because you think strong bleach, stronger result. Go for the 20% volume bleach and just leave it on twice as long, because it's less harsh. It does it slower, but you need it on longer, but it's less intense. And so that saves. I have been trying to grow my hair for many, many years, but I also like it bleached almost white. And so it gets so damaged, I can never get it to get long. But because I've been using 20% volume bleach, it's doing much better. And I think I should be able to grow it. And then once I've lightened it with, what I do is I put the mixture of the powder and the 20% volume together. I put it on my head and I literally leave it on for 2 hours. And then after that, I use a toner. And that's how it's white. And then I will do my roots after 3 months. But the less of the volume of the bleach, the longer you leave it on, but the gentler it is on the hair. That's all I can say. And I can't remember his name, but he is this bald guy with a really big orange beard, and he's really sweet. And he talks a lot about lightening your hair and stuff, and his advice is really spot on. Sarah Glynn, we still have Body Shop in our city centre. I don't understand how it's still open. Also, the bleach will still work as good. But if you put coconut oil in your hair a bit before you bleach it especially the ends, because the ends obviously get bleached multiple times over the course of time, it protects them a little bit. And in addition, after I bleach my hair, I will put E45 or aqueous cream into my scalp, sleep, and then wash the next day, because my scalp gets sore with bleach, obviously. It stops it, for me, it stops it turning into something that goes flaky like dandruff. So I rub some cream into my scalp and wash it off the next day, because my scalp gets sensitive, it gets red. I find if I do that the next day, my scalp's fine. I've been dyeing my hair since I was 16, so we're talking about over nearly 4 decades, and I have done every mistake known to man that you can do to your hair, and I've had to shave my hair off completely and start again many times. The first time I did it, I cried, but after that, it's a thing that happens because of my foolishness. I look like such a badass with my hair like that, and I love it. Thank you. That's really, really kind. The aim is to have a long braid all the way down. That's the aim. Insolent Violet, my name gives it away, but I am absolutely nuts over the violet scent. The greatest one of all time is called Insolence, and I live in fear of it being discontinued. Well, now we know your username, don't we? That's brilliant. And yes, when things get discontinued, it is quite disheartening. Voodoo on you, going to dinner, buy PC and chat. Have a really nice dinner. I hope it's lovely. Oh, what that we call like a long Viking braid. Exactly a long Viking braid mohawk thingy. Absolutely categorically. And if I ever, this is a promise to myself, if I can ever get a long Viking braid that gets down to the middle of my back, I will go out wearing horns as well, I'm pretty sure. There you go, yeah. Horns. I like horns. Anyway, what was my first tattoo? My very, very first tattoo I got in May of 1992, and it was a Black Panther on my shoulder, which has since been covered by an even larger Black Panther. Hang on. Which is there. That was my very, very first tattoo. And just for informational sake, now considering if you think of each tattoo as an individual thing, and some tattoos are very small, in total, I have 120. I have a lot of very small tattoos on my legs, but I have 120 tattoos. Sarah Glynn, bye Voodoo, enjoy your dinner. I'm going to say goodnight too. It's nearly 1 a.m. It is, isn't it? But I had a pre-sleep to do this. You're full of cold and my lemon sip is kicking in. Night night, everybody. Happy anniversary. I hope you have a really good sleep. Absolutely, categorically. I hope the lemon sip does its job. Catherine saying, weird name for it, does hair stuff, especially about growing it. I'm following a lot of her tips and trips. In the club, wow. So I believe you. Firefly. Never seen it. Only reason I know Firefly exists is because of the Big Bang, which has aged very badly. Hi, lovelies. I used to love Goya's Aquamanda in the 70s. Also, you will absolutely rock her Viking braid. I hope so. I just hope I can get my hair long enough. That's all I can think. Last time I had long hair, I cut all my hair off when I got pregnant because I couldn't colour it, and I got this thing about roots, and I've never been able to get it back again. I am the only member of my siblings who is not tattooed because I absolutely have a fear of needles. I mean, that is a perfectly understandable, obviously, because a tattoo involves needles, but it's not the same. I just can't explain it in a way. It's not the same. I mean, I went with a group of friends when I was a student to get tattoos, and everybody managed, apart from one girl who categorically could not get past the initial outline. It was for a crucifix, so at least, it looked like it was intentional, but you don't know unless you do it. That's the problem. Most people don't find it nearly as bad as they thought. Is all I can say. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, obviously. That's not to say I enjoy it. No. You do get quite euphoric after it, though, when you've got one. So both Tiggs and B Squared knew exactly the meaning of my username and pick. How's it sit? Pretty cunning, don't you think? Ah. No, I have no idea what Jane Cobb's hat means. But obviously, if I Googled it, maybe. You were in a job where you couldn't have any tattoos at all. When I first got tattooed in the early 90s, it was much different than it is now, is all I can say. And I got my tongue pierced in 1998. And again, a much different environment for women to have tattoos and the like. I remember somewhere around 1994, I was in a work environment, and one of my co-workers said that she couldn't comprehend the amount of emotional damage I must have suffered for me to want to mutilate myself in that way. So, yes, the working world is definitely much more open to tattoos and piercings now. Absolutely. But yeah, things have changed a lot in my lifetime in terms of attitudes towards a lot of things. And then also with, because obviously I'm pre-internet, I'm pre-home computer, I'm pre-mobile phone, pre-social media, obviously, that goes, obviously. So I can appreciate the differences, and there's a lot of differences in attitudes and things in the workplace as well that have changed quite dramatically. But we still have a long way to go, that's for sure. I will explain why I fear needles. When I was 14, my dad stirred up a nest of bees, and guess who? Ow. I got stung by a bee once that I was trying to rescue from drowning in a bucket. And no, it is not pleasant at all. And it wasn't like a proper sting that they left a sting behind. It was just a warning. I swore at it, but I did rescue it. I remember the early 90s getting told off for wearing nail varnish in the office. When I went to school, you had to wear skirts. There was absolutely no way at all that you were allowed to wear trousers. And then when I was in the sixth form, we still had to wear skirts. You had to dress as if you were working in an office. And we signed petitions to be allowed to wear trousers. So girls in the sixth form could wear trousers only because we petitioned for it in 1990. And now school uniforms, girls can wear trousers absolutely categorically. They have the option. Not allowed to wear shorts though. Anyway, there was a time when the police officers weren't allowed forearm tattoos before retiring. I was sent on an IT job at a police station, and one of the PCs had 2 full sleeves. There were a lot of obvious tattoos, any tattoos that could be seen. When I first started getting tattoos, I made sure my tattoos, this is it's going to sound weird now, um, for the first part of my tattooing phase, let's say, I made sure every tattoo I had was somewhere that could be covered. No, I'm not so worried about that now. No. Is Kybella in the chat? Because somebody's replying to Kybella. Hello, you. Yes, we caused a lot of trouble with that doll, didn't we? It definitely had the desired response. Definitely. We had to wear uniforms, no long pants for girls. No. And the skirts couldn't be below a certain length, which, judging by the school that my kids go to, is not an issue anymore. And it might make me sound old, but yes. My first tattoos were hidden, top of the foot and above the right ankle. My first tattoo was my shoulder, and then I had an ankle, and then I had my hip, and then I had a little one. This is a cover up, as you can tell. There was a little one here, but everything was cover upable. You wanted to get your eyebrows tattooed. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, mine are tattooed, but they're very lightly tattooed underneath, and then I dyed them black because I still have the hair. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you so much. You're so kind. You love the doll. That was partly a passion project, to be honest. We knew what we were doing. Kybella and myself. We knew what we were doing. Let's just, yeah. Jane Cobbs had this landing is going to be interesting. Definitely interesting. Oh, God, we're going to die. Is this from Jane Cobbs? Jane Cobbs. Obviously, that's a character in something sci-fi. Presumably. I don't have tattoos, but do lots of scars count? I don't know how to answer that. I mean, they're nothing to be ashamed of. Scars show a life that's been lived. That's all I can say. I have burns on my arm. One of them bothers me in terms of appearance because it was so deep that the skin doesn't hold in, so it comes out. Most of the time I forget they're there, to be honest now, but I mean, there's nothing, it's part of me, I guess. It's hard to, apart from the one that's, weakened the skin so much that the fat actually pops out with it. I'm all right about them. It's just that little. It's more to do with the fat popping out than the scar itself. Scars are warrior marks. Scars are the tattoos life gives us. That reminds me of something I was talking to with my kids today, the broken bone theory. Because I'm 52 and I've never broken a bone. And there's a theory, obviously it's a spiritual theory, the broken bone theory, that people who, you know, you feel like you should have broken a bone. I mean, some of the things I did as a kid, you know, that kind of thing, but you never have. It's because your soul is absorbing the damage, because your soul is strong and it is taking the damage that life throws at you. And that's why your bones don't break so easily. It's a theory. It's a theory. I watched the Kai Bella unboxing video a few times purely because Kai Bella, hello you, was so joyous about the whole thing. It was joyful, which probably made it all the more worse for a certain individual who watched it. He wasn't bothered by it at all. Kai Bella, you've never broken a bone, seems about right. Yeah. If it interests you, you should look it up. It is interesting, and it's put in a much better way than I can describe. But it is basically your heart and your soul is absorbing the damage because life's hard, and I'm doing a really bad job describing it. It's probably best Googled, the broken bone theory. You've only ever broken a toe. I don't think toes count. Toes are just in the place to do. I should have definitely broken my nose at some point as a kid, because I jumped out of a tree, and when I landed, I kneed myself in the face, and I can legitimately still remember the pain. And I didn't even have a nosebleed. And I've done some really foolish things as a kid that I should have, should have at least broken something. Yorkshire Boom, I've never heard of it. It makes sense. Everything has a theory, though. Absolutely everything has a theory, if you look into it. Sorry, I shouldn't even be drinking coffee, but... Excuse me. I have scars all over my head from childhood accidents, but I have never broken a bone, not for the lack of trying. Yeah, I remember once as a kid, I had this really good idea. I was going down a hill, full pelt on my bicycle, and I thought it'd be a really good idea to jump off and just run alongside. I thought that would happen. Obviously, jumping off a bike at full speed doesn't result in you just happily running alongside your bicycle. No. I just scraped my knee, and that was it. Saturday night coffee is good. Happy anniversary, switching to TV. Thank you for letting me interact with your stream, y'all. Have a nice evening. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. That's the longest I've ever been. All right. Because normally I stop at 2, but I've gone over that. If that's okay with everybody else, we'll give it to 2.5 hours. So we've got 17 minutes left, if that's okay. Because it would be quite easy just to talk about nonsense for a long time. And I'm not Foodie, who doesn't talk about nonsense, doesn't talk about anything, to be honest. I mean, you can have an opinion about me all you want, but I can talk. It might not necessarily be interesting, but yeah. Seems like we just started. It means everybody's having a good time. Yeah, I've got cats asleep all around me now. They've given up. Seems like we just died. Sure, thumbs up, please. Okay, brilliant. Thanks very much. Good night, Lilith. It has been a slice. Chama. I don't know what CHMA means, but good night, Empress of Cloth. Our trolling video was also very good. That was the one that was inspired by a comment. that I got. Lots of love from Australia, from one sister to another. I think you're one strong, beautiful warrior. Much love. That is incredibly kind of you, Super76. That's brilliant. I just assume that every time somebody has a number at the end, it's the year they were born. Unless obviously the number's more. Okay, because my brain is starting to slow down. I had a really good idea for my next video. My next video, yes. This was inspired by something one of my kids said to me today about something about cola and Pepsi that they learned at school. And that the reason, allegedly, according to, what they were taught at school, is that statistically Pepsi is more popular among African Americans than it is among their cola's more popular between white Americans. I'm trying to be as polite about this as I possibly can, and if I make a mistake or say something offensive, it's not intentional. But apparently, back in the day, when there was segregation, cola was advertised as a drink that was only sold to white people. And so Pepsi targeted African Americans and minorities. And that has bled into into modern day. And I didn't know that. I thought that was a very interesting fact. Now, I'm only going on what I was told by my child today, and I'm going to look into it. But that has led me to thinking that the next video I'd like to do on Monday would actually be very little known but very interesting facts about anything, including the Coca-Cola one, if it's true, because I found that surprising and shocking. I did not know that Coca-Cola at one point was only sold to white Americans. And I think it's something people should actually know, just to be informed. So my next video is just going to be facts, just a casual facts thing on whatever really random stuff I can find out. Now, the facts I do know for sure about Pepsi and cola is the reason why they taste so different. Cola was invented pre-refrigeration and therefore was developed to be drunk at room temperature, where Pepsi was developed post-refrigeration and was developed to be drunk cold. And that's why there's such a discrepancy in the flavors. It's because one was designed specifically for room temperature and one was designed specifically to be drunk cold. And yes, cola did have the devil's snow in it. Actually, that gave me an idea for some of the random facts as well. Is the use of cocaine and heroin in products back in the day. Because obviously it was in medicines and things, and it was seen very differently in the early 20th century. Okay, I will add that to my list of things maybe. Every day is a school day with Phat Cow. I have so much random nonsense in my brain that is taking up the space that could be much better used by other stuff. But yes, Coca-Cola. That's why it's called the Coca-Cola. The cocaine is, cocaine is called Coke. And Coke is called Coke because of the cocaine that was in it. It wasn't that Coca-Cola was only sold to white people. It was that segregation made it so only white people communities, and Pepsi was in black communities. Burnwich, same. I thought it was the only one. Yeah, I love learning crazy facts about medical history. I love medical history. Absolutely love it. There's it's very, 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 very difficult to find, but there was a very brief TV series called The Nick, which was the Nick is a name of a hospital, and this was set in the earliest 20th century, and it stars the guy who's in Sin City and Child of Man. Whose name, and I think the guy that was in the first series of American Horror Story. He plays a doctor, and it really, really goes into the history of the development of medicine, and it is fascinating. It's a really good series, and they just canned it after one series. Clive Owen, that's him. Yes. And also there is another TV series that's available on the British Netflix called The Alienist. And that was the very, very set in the very, very, very beginning of psychology. And the reason it's called The Alienist is before psychologists were called psychologists, they were called alienists. And so it's about the development of psychology. But The Nick is fantastic, but it's so hard to find to watch. I watched it pirated on something, one of those channels where you can watch anything. It was on Prime for a bit, and then it was on Prime only if you bought it, and now I can't find it at all. Very similar to The Fringe disappeared, and it's very difficult to watch easily as well. And Fringe was great until the last season, but at least I've seen it to the end. I think I've seen it to the end. That was something I used to watch a lot as well when it was free. Yep, The Alienist is brilliant. Also, what is also very interesting is on Netflix, Manhunter, which is the beginning of the psychology department of the FBI. The beginning of the studies of serial killers and how they started profiling. That's it. How profiling started. Very good. The Alienist is a book. Oh, I didn't know that. Brilliant. All right, cool. So, Mindhunter, brilliantly done. Brilliantly done. Yeah, I know. Some series get stops, and in my opinion, I have absolutely no idea why. They profiled Hitler and predicted his next move. There's a documentary on YouTube about it. Oh, interesting. What that brilliant show, Mindhunter. Mindhunter also stopped after one season. So annoying. The Nick, one season. So annoying. Alienists, 2 seasons, I think. The best shows do get cancelled after season 1. If you think about it, less gory, more cerebral series don't tend to last that long. I was never interested in watching any movies or shows until the beginning of 2024. I never cared before. Most movies that everyone has seen, I have not. I have, yeah, there is a shocking amount of extremely popular films and stuff I haven't watched. I've never watched a full film of Star Wars. I only watched Hellraiser for the first time. I have watched all of them now, till a year ago. I've never seen a full Nightmare on Elm Street. I've never seen a full Halloween. I've never seen a full Friday the 13th. I've never seen Alien. But as I said, I get very stuck on things and I just watch them repeatedly. The actor who played Ed, yes, Kemper, he did. Absolutely, categorically. Brilliant. Brilliant. One very good series from the late 90s was Rubicon, cancelled after one series. Never heard of it. My favourite film is still Magnolias. I did watch that once, I think. Vaguely remember it. I haven't watched Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter either. Some films I've been in the same room as them being on, if that counts. Silent Hill. I've seen Silent Hill. Yeah. My filmography of things I watch is really poor. When things originally came out in the 80s, we didn't have the money to go to the cinema, and we didn't have the money to have a video machine or to rent videos and stuff. So a lot of things passed me by. And in terms of the effects and stuff, they don't age very well. So they don't seem nearly as impressive when you see them 3 decades later. I'm trying to think. Sorry, my mind blanked then. Vikings, I saw the first season. I haven't watched so many things while crocheting that I don't remember a thing about. That's why I watch things I've already watched before, so I don't have to concentrate. I've forgotten more shows and movies than I remember. Never seen Blade Runner. I've never seen. Let's just say, prior to 1990, I didn't see any films. Basically, I have a thing for low budget alternative movies. There's so many brilliant things out there that no one knows about. If you like, this is not an advertisement or anything, but Shudder. I pay £5 sterling a month to subscribe to Shudder, and that is a pretty good collection of films. One of my old famous films from movies, Gone with the Wind, for its time. I have seen that. I remember bits. I mean, my favourite film from the 70s that has not aged well, but still, is Grease. Love singing along to Grease. Threads. I watched Threads for the very first time this year, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again. Because I saw somebody do a film synopsis on it. Ryan, if you watch horror film thingies, Ryan Hollin, whatever, I can't remember. He did something about Threads. I do watch a couple of channels that do synopsises on, do commentaries on horror films, and he did one on Threads, and then I found Threads, and considering when it was made as well, 1984-ish, something around that time, because it was banned initially. It was made as the government financed it as a informational film for the British public, and then decided not to show it because they didn't like how the government was portrayed, because they were portrayed as being useless. The movie Fame, I remember the movie Fame predominantly to do with that scene where it was at Coco, was having pictures taken and was told to undress. So she started to take her top off and was crying. And that made me cry. Wishing you the best in the next year. Thank you so very, very much. Hello, Peps. You're so pretty. Ish. Irene Cara. It's from the 1980s. Yeah. That was a big thing at the time. The leggings. Leg warmers. They've come back, by the way, leg warmers. You're 31? Go, Bella. I thought you were 25. Oh, wow. That seemed unfair when she takes the top of his biscuit. Yeah. It's the only bit I remember. And it was so upsetting. So upsetting. She's wearing a grey top, slightly off the shoulder. Yep. I am old, low Gen X here. Oh, yeah, Gen X. Do you think Prince Harry will... I have very, very, very limited idea of what's going on there. But what I do think is, given their upbringing and what they've been exposed to, and the death of their mother and the suspicious circumstances of their mother, it's surprising that both of them aren't somewhat damaged. That's all I have to say, because I don't know what's going on. I have no interest in the royal family. I do remember... What? Pebbles! Sorry. Get off! All right, crisis averted. Sorry, she was on a computer monitor. Do you remember where I was when it was announced that Princess Diana died? I was a student, and I found out I was in bed, and somebody came into my room because I was in a shared house and said, Princess Diana's dead. And I remember sitting up thinking, what? And I lived in London at the time, and for the next 3 weeks after that, trying to navigate yourself around London was nigh on impossible because of all the people that were coming to show their respects and to put flowers. No, she's just been she wanted to get somewhere. Black Mirror. I haven't watched the last 2 seasons of that. That's fantastic too. Nosedive. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Shows where we're heading. I think I might be speaking really out of turn here, that China has implemented something to do with social media and your popularity on that, of possibly. You read Spare? No comment. Do you mean the book Spare, or is it in reference to something you're speaking to earlier with somebody? Because the book Spares, there's a book called Spares, which is a horrific concept, which is one of my favourite books. And it's about a society that grows human clones for organ donation for rich people. The Mercurian Candidate was the last movie I watched. You were selling roses when she passed. Social credit score, yeah. All right, folks. Because I like round numbers, we'll stop at 2 hours and 40 minutes. Just so I don't suddenly disappear. We can just have a nice... I've never seen The Wire. I don't even know what it's about. Is it a crime thingy? I only know about The Wire because of Grey's Anatomy, I think. And they were talking about... Was it Grey's Anatomy? Some of the characters were talking about The Wire. Was it ER? Anyway. Thing is, I've gotten to the point in my life where I can't just have one thing going on. If I'm sewing, I have to be listening to music or to a video playing. Or if I'm watching a film, I still have to be doing something else as well. I'm not fond of being undistracted, let's put it that way. Can't watch a boring movie. No, you just end up doing other stuff while it's playing in the background. That is the ADHD, which I did not know I had until it became very evident that both my children are neurodivergent. Oy! Hello, baby. Sorry, but you were on my keyboard. And when I started investigating... Yes, give me a minute. When I began investigating it with my children... Odd. Okay. I just need 3 more minutes, Poppet, okay? 3 more minutes. Just need some love. And so it's only because of that I found out that I was. And then everything made sense. Sorry, I'm trying to tickle a cat behind the screen. So let's start winding down. I have plans of the kind of content I'm going to make. Initially, it's going to seem quite random. Sorry. Because there's different... What's up, baby? What's up, my love? Hey? You all right? Okay, she's telling me to go off. So it's going to be quite random. But it's all like, obviously, it's the beginning of possible series. There will become a rhythm to it eventually. And hopefully it will be quite successful. I might do a monthly Girl World update. I think that's the most effort I can give to it from now on, because the way it's going, it's going to take a month's worth of content on their side to produce enough to comment on after a month. And so look forward to future videos. I truly think it will grow and grow this channel with such great chat. There has been a decline in subscribers since I've left Girl World, I've noticed, but that was to be completely expected. And it's going to take time to find an audience for the new content. But I'm not starting from scratch. I've done it from scratch before. And you will find, you will attract your audience in time. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to the variety, to be honest. Definitely looking forward to the variety. My throat is really sore now. Anyway, thank all of you who has joined me. Tomorrow or the day after, I will randomize the comments and find out who receives one of the stuffies, and I will make a notification about the winners on Tuesday. Not only who has won, what they've won, or maybe it can be a surprise. I'll just send you something. And yeah, thank you so very, very much to all of you. Okay, this means a lot. And here's to another year at least. Thank you so very, very much to all of you. Bye.